My name is Francis Adam. Thank you for joining us here on the Pulse this afternoon on your election headquarters. Let's now head now to the Northern region, where joining us is learning of a scandal at the Electoral Commission in which 2 registration officers have been sacked for taking registration materials to the home of the MPP running mate Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia in the area. The NDC is today alleging that the officers were given monies by Dr. Bawumia for the gesture. The EC took immediate action and dismissed the officers, but the NDC is not satisfied. We'll speak to the director of the Electoral Commission in Walewale in just a moment, but let's first hear from the NDC's communications manager for the constituency, Imoro Abdul Razak.
And he got to the polling station and the exhibition officer and the verification officer were not around. So he left for his house. The following day, 26th, that was yesterday in the morning, the said verification officer and exhibition officer, Yobe Ambrose and Mumune Latifa, were instructed by one of the top officials in the West Mamprusi district office of the Electoral Commission, instructed them to really carry the polling station or the verification materials, that is the BVD, the PVR, and other things to Dr. Bawumia's house to let he and his family go through the process. And upon interrogation, we have come to the realization that Dr. Bawumia did not necessarily wanted to go through the process, but what he sought to do was to go through the PVR with his people, that is the MPP conference executives, to identify NDC members on the register so that they object to them. And we think that if Dr. Bawumia has a problem with the Walewale or the register or people on the register in Walewale, he should do that through the right process. But not the right process. The right process is to file his concerns to the director of the Electoral Commission in the West Mamprusi district for him to get redress to the matter, but not to invite people, the officials who we are told were given an envelope of 10,000 Ghana cedis to help him get or object to NDC loyalists on the register.
Right, let's get some responses from the head of the Electoral Commission in the area. Benjamin Bamubio joins us online. Thank you, sir, for your time this afternoon. Can you first of all confirm that the 2 officers involved in this have indeed been sacked? Mr. Bamubio, good afternoon to you. Mr. Bamubio, can you hear me? Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, your line is not clear, please.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, please, I can hear you a little better now.
Great. I'm asking for you to first confirm for us whether the 2 officers involved in this have indeed been sacked.
Hello, can you come again?
All right, we will surely try and rectify that line and bring you more on that particular story in that interview with Mr. Bawumia. Benjamin Bawumia is the Northern Regional Director of Elections at the Electoral Commission. We'll bring you some more details on the story and also get to hear from both sides, both the NDC and the MPP, on this matter, because we were made to understand that on the day when this happened, we had some challenges with the re-registration and exhibition exercise in the Northern region. We'll get to that. We'll come back to the story in just a moment. But we also know that today has been a busy day for the Electoral Commission, giving us a bit more detail about the re-registration exercise that ended yesterday, as well as an update on the exhibition exercise. Now, 34,665 voters whose names were deleted from the electoral roll will not be taking part in this year's election, following the EC's decision not to extend the re-registration exercise, which began on July 18. The exercise was commenced after the Supreme Court had ordered the deletion of the names of persons who registered using the NHIS card as proof of citizenship. This was revealed by the EC's Director of Communication, Eric Jakpasu, at a news conference on Friday. Well, join this is Joseph Akable. I was at this news conference, but just before I speak to him, let me bring you some of the numbers as we have for you on the screens. So the total number of individuals who were re-registered are 24,287, bearing in mind that 56,772 individuals had to be re-registered only 24,000, which means another 22,000, at least over 22,000 are unaccounted for, and cannot have their names appear in the register anymore. So by extension, their names have been deleted. They will have no opportunity whatsoever to vote in this year's election. I'll come to Joseph Akablay in just a moment to speak to him about what we got from this news conference. But let's quickly go back to that first story I brought you from the northern region, where we're learning that there's been some issues with the exercise. 2 officers have been dismissed. We're learning. Let's get details from Mr. Benjamin Baumio. He's the Northern Regional Director of the Electoral Commission. Thank you, Mr. Baumio, for joining us. Mr. Baumio, can you hear me? Good afternoon to you, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Great. So can you first confirm to us that indeed 2 officers of the Electoral Commission have been sacked for sending the registration material or the verification machines to the home of Dr. Baumia?
Please, can you come again?
I'm asking whether you can confirm for us that you have indeed sacked 2 officers of the commission in the Walewale constituency.
Oh, yes, we have done that.
Okay. What has informed this decision you took to sack them?
Hello?
I'm asking, tell us what really happened. What led to they being sacked?
Oh, okay.
Mr. Baumia, can you hear me? Okay, it seems like we're having some challenges with that line.
Are you speaking to me or you are speaking to another person?
Well, sorry, Mr. Baumia, can you hear me? Mr. Bamubio?
Another person giving his report. So which of us are you talking to?
We'll see what happens and how we can re-establish contact with him and bring you that interview here.
I can hear somebody talking and you are also asking me to talk. Which of us do you want us to talk at the moment?
Well, I can't really hear you, Mr. Baumio, but I'm asking about what really happened that led to these 2 officers being sacked.
And I'm saying that those 2 officers did not work according to the directives of the Electoral Committee. That was why they were sacked.
Sorry, I can't seem to hear Mr. Baumio at this time. We'll try to rectify that line and get back to him in just a moment on this issue. Benjamin Baumio is the head of the EC in the Walewale constituency. We'll get to him in just a moment. Now, let's go back to that news conference happening. That happened earlier today at the Electoral Commission, giving us details on the registration exercise. Joseph joins me in the studio. Joseph, good afternoon to you. Quickly take us through the major issues that the EC raised today beyond the declaration of these names that have been registered. I'm quite concerned about those who will not have the opportunity to re-register because they are not extending the period.
Now, for those individuals, the understanding that Mr. Eric Jakwaso put across is the fact that, as it stands, we all know that plans are in place to ensure that we have a continuous registration process being started. Now, that framework is being worked upon and it hasn't been implemented yet. So once the Electoral Commission is done with that framework, that will enable them to get onto the road. But the sad part is, if that is not done before the election, then it means they will not be taking part in this year's election. But the press conference focused on 2 main issues. The first has to do with the re-registration exercise that commenced on July 18 and ended yesterday, July 28. Then the second one had to do with the exhibition of the voters register that started also on July 18, but that hasn't ended yet. Will end on August 5. So those were the 2 main issues that the press conference addressed. So it started first and foremost with Mr. Jakwaso giving the statistics of those who have been able to re-register, as well as those who have been verified in terms of visiting the polling station to check whether their names are on the electoral roll or not.
Okay, let's hear from Mr. Jakwaso now, and then we'll come back and look at the other issues that were raised at this news conference.
Call for an extension of the registration process, right?
Oh, yes.
Out of the 56,772 names deleted, 22,107 had been re-registered. We agree, without any shade of doubt, that the total number re-registered was low. However, we were not expecting all the 56,772 deleted persons to turn up for re-registration. It has been 4 years since they registered. Chances are that a good number of them may no longer have been with us, and others may have their own reasons why they would not want to re-register. The obvious turnout for this exercise cannot be blamed on low publicity and inadequate public education. As you may recall, the last limited voter registration exercise lasted for 10 days, just like the re-registration exercise. At the end of the 10 days, as many as over 1 million Ghanaians turned out to get registered. This means an average of 100,000 people were registered daily. Therefore, 10 days was more than enough for only 56,772 people to get re-registered.
So that's the breakdown we have for you in terms of the number of individuals who were able to register, those who have not done so, those whose names were deleted and had the opportunity to re-register and it didn't happen. That's the breakdown for you. But Joseph, the EC had a lot more to say beyond the numbers, didn't they?
Well, it had to do with the reasons why the extension will not be happening despite the calls from some groups. We also know that the political parties, some have already made that particular call. Now, then again, he gave an explanation as to why the exercise was carried out at a district office instead of being held at the polling stations, because we know the polling station was where the exhibition was being done, whilst the registration was being done at the district office. Now, he explained that that was an IPAC decision because it will ensure that once an individual registers at the station, at the district office, it automatically reflects in the database of the Electoral Commission. Now, concerning the reasons, you talked about the fact that it will affect their timetable as well as other reasons why that makes it very difficult for the Electoral Commission to extend the date.
Have listed so far, it cannot be the case that the low turnout was caused by low publicity.
Well, that's Mr. Jacobson, and sorry for that hitch there. We'll try and rectify that and bring you some more details from the Electoral Commission on this matter. We'll go for a quick break. When we'll come back, we'll look at the other issues to explore here. With this announcement by the EC, what will it mean for those individuals whose names have been deleted? We've already heard from the MPP who've been asking for an extension. They did not get it. What happens next after the petition sent to them? Details after the break. Stay with us.